This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
There we go. Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Got my sound on now. Good morning, good afternoon, however you want to call it. The New York Knicks, ladies and gentlemen, in just about an hour, will take on the Philadelphia 76ers. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be a tough task, ladies and gentlemen. A very tough task. Because this team is stacked. This is the Game Day pregame show, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you check out thegameday.com for all of your up-to-date sports content and betting odds. And I do want to let you know, for those of you who are members, there's a link attached to the top of the YouTube chat. And if you click on that link, it's going to take you to the members section where you can access a link to do a live watch along with us during the game. So make sure you check us out, ladies and gentlemen. It's for members only, though. Got my man Josh, Uncle Fulio here in the building. And he'll be joining us shortly. We're going to go ahead and break this thing down. Josh, what's popping with you, my brother? How you feeling today?
Sim, what's going on? What's going on to Knicks Nation and BK fam out there? Please join us along for that watch along. It should be dope. It should be pretty fun. And before I talk about this, I just want to send my deepest prayers to the people of Ukraine and all those people out there in Europe. Tough time what's going on over there. You know, just people need to realize how lucky we are to be in America. And, you know, be a part of this great country. So prayers to the people of Ukraine.
Yeah, no doubt. And thankfully, Andy is safe and he's able to join us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He'll be on pretty soon. What's your takes on this game today before we start breaking down everything?
Well, it's going to be a tough task, another tough game of this juggernaut of a schedule that we got. Philly, of course, led by Joel Embiid. He's my favorite for MVP. I think he's going to win MVP this year. He's having a sensational season. And, of course, when you add James Harden along with that, it's going to be a tough task. Luckily for Philly, they don't shoot that many three-pointers. I know the three ball has really killed us this season. Defending the three ball has really killed us this season. So we've got to be able to stop Joel Embiid and James Harden, and let's see what we can be able to do. But I think, you know, I don't want to say this is a winnable game, but I think compared to the other games that we've played, I think this is more winnable than those. So I think it's going to be a tough game no matter what.
I don't know if it's winnable, man. I'm serious. I don't know if this is winnable for us. If you look at the way, obviously, when a team is new, I don't want to say obviously, but sometimes when a team is new, when they just get together, things click. And then as time goes on, you know, they start to think a little bit. And then all of a sudden it gets a little bit easier, right? So, you know, it starts off fresh and then it goes downhill and then it comes back up. But, man, they started off, they scored 133 points in their first game together versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. James Harden had a crazy night, almost a triple-double already. I don't know. This is a tough one for me for the Knicks, man. I think this is a tough one.
Yeah, it's Sam, don't get me wrong. It's going to be a tough matchup. I don't want to sound like, you know, it's going to be easy, but I'm just saying relative to the rest of the games. I think Philly, you know, because Philly, they don't play with much pace, right? They don't shoot the three ball that well. They don't shoot the three ball a lot, right? They don't want to they shoot the probably least amount of threes in the NBA or like down there at the bottom. So I think because that's there, I think the Knicks have a shot. It's a long shot. But you know, I think if we, you know, just play our brand of basketball, I think, you know, we might be surprised at the outcome today. Let's see.
I hope so. Now, the only thing I would say is all of those things that you just pointed out were before James Harden.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So now James Harden is on the team. You know, we've only got one game to know what they actually look like, and that one game was impressive. You know what I mean? You know, we'll see what they look like going forward, but This team is scary. They still have a lot to contend with in the Eastern Conference, of course, right? Because you got, the Brooklyn Nets are going to be getting back KD. You got Miami. We just seen Miami the other day.
Scary.
You got Milwaukee, right? So, Philadelphia's still got some teams to contend with. But, man, they got 2 MVP candidates over there. And when you look at what they did against the Minnesota Timberwolves, Tyrese Maxey, I mean, he's not an MVP candidate, but he killed it versus the Timberwolves, 28 points. James Harden, 27 points, 12 assists, and 8 rebounds. And Joel Embiid did his usual performance, 34 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 assists. And you know what? They shot 39 threes versus the Timberwolves, and they were 48.7%. So we'll see if this marks a change in, I don't want to say their strategy, but because you got James Harden and he has the ability to distribute better than anyone that they've had this season, it may change the number of threes that they attempt, in the way that they play.
Sim Building Ruth in the chat says he thinks the Knicks are going to win by 6 because it's an afternoon game. James Harden is still hungover from last night.
You might be right. You might be right. You know what I'm saying? Because, if you've been in Philly on a Saturday night, you might be right. Let's check out the injury report for the New York Knicks. Quentin Grimes is out. Right? You all seen the injury that he suffered in the previous game. Derrick Rose is having surgery on his right ankle, and Kemba Walker is no longer with the team. Right? So this leaves room for guys like Cam Reddish to play. We'll see if Jericho Sims is going to play over Nerlens Noel. Nerlens Noel's, for this game at least, is healthy and ready to go. We'll see if Tom Thibodeau still plays Jericho Sims. We'll see what happens with Miles McBride. But the injury report for the New York Knicks for tonight and for the Philadelphia 76ers, everybody's healthy. Anybody is healthy. As a matter of fact, everybody's healthy. On the injury report, anyone who's not with the team, they're on assignment in the G League. Okay, so both teams, for the most part, for what it is, coming into the game healthy. The Knicks without Quentin Grimes and Derrick Rose. Josh, I don't know if I had a chance to speak with you, but with Quentin Grimes being out, do you see Miles McBride getting some burn now in that second unit? Because the second unit would be Emmanuel Quickley, Cam Reddish, Obi Toppin, and either Jericho Sims or Nerlens Noel. There's still a spot remaining in that second unit. Do you see it going to Quentin Grimes, or does Tom Thibodeau pull RJ and put him in that second unit?
I think, you said Quentin Grimes. I think you meant to say McBride. I think McBride is going to play. I think McBride is going to play. I think it'll be spot minutes, though. I think Tip's going to shorten this rotation down to 9. I think you'll see a lot of RJ Barrett with the second unit as well, and I expect an uptick in minutes for Cam Reddish. I think that's how he's going to play it. Of course, I know everyone wants to see Miles McBride play. I do as well, but I just don't know if Tibbs is ready to put McBride out there as of yet and give him meaningful minutes with the second unit. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I like to see him get out there. This is the perfect opportunity for him to get out there and play. You know what I mean? What can it hurt? Just throw him out there for a couple of minutes in the first half. If it's not looking good, you don't like it, then you don't play him in the second half. You can always take him out the game. But this is the perfect opportunity because that spot is available. Joey Buckets, Darren Wayne, both are members. Make sure that you join us in that members-only watch-along today at 1 p.m. Love to see you there. Click on that link that's at the top of your YouTube chat, and you can get the link to join us. All right, ladies and gentlemen, looking at the starting lineups for tonight. Projected starting lineups for the New York Knicks: Alec Burks, Evan Fournier, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson. For the Philadelphia 76ers, Tyrese Maxey, James Harden, Matisse Thybulle, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid. Of course, their big three is James Harden, Joel Embiid, and Tobias Harris. That's the big three out there. 2 MVP candidates and 1 all-star candidate out there. And then you got, a defensive guy, Matisse Thybulle, a young stud point guard in Tyrese Maxey. That's a nice rounded lineup for the Philadelphia 76ers. I think it is. And tough matchups all across the board for the New York Knicks. Just initially, what do you see from those lineups? Then we're going to talk about some defensive matchups and things.
Well, like you said, Sam, it's going to be tough. Obviously, we know who James Harden is. To me, he's one of the top 5 shooting guards of all time. Hands down, I think he's a top 5 shooting guard of all time, still balling. I know when he was with Brooklyn, he played more of an on-ball facilitator type role, and you can tell he still has those abilities with the assist numbers that he's putting up. Not to mention Tyrese Maxey, who's coming into his own in this league. But I think it all starts with Joel Embiid. And Mitchell Robinson has a tough task of defending Joel Embiid. That's going to be really, really tough. Now, when we first played Philly at the Garden early in the season, to me, up until that point, I felt that was Mitchell Robinson's best defensive game as a Knick. He just, controlled Joel Embiid. I think Joel Embiid only had 2 points in the first half. He finished with, I think, 10 or something like that. And I thought Mitchell Robinson did a great job of defending Joel Embiid. That was early in the season, though. So we got to see if we can be able to, have that performance again against Joel Embiid. I think if we can slow him down or at least make it a little bit tougher for him, I think we'll have a chance. But it's just going to be tough no matter what, no matter how you slice it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's going to be tough no matter which way you go about it. Andy, welcome.
Yo, what up, guys? Sorry for being late. Used the wrong link. I was waiting in that room for you guys.
Yeah, welcome, man. Welcome. Your thoughts, Andy, on this matchup? And, we went over the projected starting lineups. We're going to break it down player by player in a minute. But for the Knicks, Alec Burks, Evan Fournier, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson. And for the 76ers, Tyrese Maxey, James Harden, Matisse Thybulle, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid. Just initial thoughts.
Oh man, it's going to be a hard and long day for the Knicks today. Listen, 2 MVPs, an All-Star, probably in Harris, you can say, great defensive player in Thybulle. Yeah. Looking at the Knicks, never know who's going to show up, who's not going to show up, who's going to have the hot hand, who's not going to have a good night. So you never know how this might go, but. I just hope the Knicks are going to be, competing at least that, right?
Right. Yeah, no doubt about that. I want to get to a super chat real quick because I think this has a good question. Eddie F., he says, people often compare Maxey and IQ. Any aspects of Maxey's game you think could help IQ find its way? But looking at the two, one, I think Maxey is a better defender than IQ, although IQ is working hard to get better. But I think IQ has a lot of the same skill sets, but Maxey makes better decisions.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big difference between the two. Maxey is just a better decision maker. And that's where IQ really has to grow and develop. His shot selection is real choppy. I don't know if it's, part of Tom Thibodeau saying, hey, do what you do. But I think his decision-making just really needs to grow in order for him to reach his potential as just an off guard in the NBA. Not even a point guard, just an off guard in the league. So I think that's the big difference between the two. Any thoughts there? Either one of you?
Yeah, Sam. I definitely agree with you, and I think that's why Maxey is a better fit at point guard, right? Because of his decision making, because he has a higher basketball IQ, and that's really the difference between the two. The pro for Quickly can get hot, and he can knock down the 3 ball at an extremely high clip. If he's shooting well, if he's shooting the basketball well, but when he's not, he's very streaky. Put it to you that way, very, very streaky. And I think that's the difference between the two. Obviously, the Knicks were looking at both of them in the draft, I think Maxey got selected before Quickly did, so we didn't have a chance to really get Maxey, if I'm not mistaken. So we just gotta be able to help Quickly improve. I think Tibbs is going to work in the offseason, and the coaching staff is going to work to get Quickly better. And then let's see how this is going to play out. But there's no question about it that Maxey has a better basketball IQ at this point in his career than Quickly does.
Yeah, Andy. I know.
Yeah. I was gonna say decision making, but what goes after decision making and pair with is shot selection. And listen, it might be just because In college, they played together, and only you could have only one ball handler and point guard, right? So, if I'm correct, that was Maxi's role. That's why he might be a little bit more comfortable with the ball in his hands than IQ is. Listen, none of these guys are going to say they're not comfortable in it, whether because they're in the NBA, right? So they're trying to make the best out of it. But like you said, decision making, shot selection, the defense is probably also on Maxi's side. But like you said, IQ is developing that. Listen, I don't think there's more to say. For me, IQ as a teammate, man, I would be mad with him. Mad with him.
I'm going crazy, right?
I would be mad with him, man. But
yeah, I know. I'd be going crazy too. I'd be going crazy.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'd be going real crazy. Looking at the lineups here, we're going to break it down and look at defensive matchups for the day. Because if you look at those lineups, it says that Evan Fournier, would guard James Harden, and that would be a disaster, in my opinion. So I don't think it's going to be Evan Fournier. It'll probably be R.J. Barrett. So looking at the matchups, I got Alec Burks defending Tyrese Maxey, Evan Fournier, Matisse Thybulle, R.J. Barrett, James Harden, Julius Randle, Tobias Harris, and Mitchell Robinson and Joel Embiid. So looking at these matchups, let's start with Alec Burks and Tyrese Maxey. Uncle Fully, I'll start with you.
Well, the whole purpose, why Burks was selected as the new point guard once Kemba went down, at least that first part of the season, was because he's bigger, and I guess Tibbs likes his ability to just be a bigger guy out there defending opposing point guards. But that being said, Burks hasn't been that good. It's just gonna call it like it is. He's not a natural point guard. I believe his length will help try to slow Maxey down. But it's going to be tough for Burks to, because he's not in a natural position for him to be able to guard Tyrese Maxey. So I'm going to call it a wash right now. I don't really see a winner in this matchup.
I feel like, I don't know. I just looking at, some of the depth that Philadelphia lost, I think there's more responsibility on Tyrese Maxey. So I think he's going to get more shot attempts. He's going to have the ball in his hands a little bit more. I'm expecting him to play well. I'm not saying that he's going to drop 28 a game. But I don't think the 16 shot attempts that he took versus the Minnesota Timberwolves was a fluke. I think it's because now, looking at their bench, they got Danny Green, Paul Millsap. You still got Shake Milton out there. You got Yang, but who does Doc Rivers trust with the basketball more? Most likely Tyrese Maxey. You know what I mean? So I think you're going to see an uptick in his numbers, because of the different makeup of this team. You know what I mean? Andy, your thoughts?
Yes, Tim. Listen, we saw games from Maxey previously when the Sixers were, in protocols, heavily in protocols, and he had even 30-point games, right? That was when they didn't have anyone to take those shots. With James Harden, I don't think that's a question. So he's not going to be, called even to take shots. Meanwhile, he can make shots. So we got to definitely watch out for him. But unless he is going to be on the court without James Harden, I rather, see him taking 1 out of 10 shots. So I don't think he's going to be that much of an offensive threat for the current, lineup that the Sixers are going to have. But when Embiid or Harden are going to be on the bench and he's going to be on the floor, you got to be tighter on Maxey. That's for sure.
Yeah, and that's where he's going to get. That's where he's going to get his touches, right? Playing with the second unit or something like that. I mean, he's averaging 17 points a game on a season. I still think he's going to have an uptick in numbers, man, because he is going to get more playing time with the bench because their bench is a little bit weaker now. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm going with Tyrese Maxey for tonight. I think Tyrese Maxey is going to win that matchup. Evan Fournier and Matisse Thybulle. Andy, any thoughts on that matchup?
Well, listen. I think we gotta take this like a pair, right? So it's gonna be Fournier and RJ versus Harden and Tybalt. And for me, I think those matchups are gonna be interchangeable through the game. I really think though that whoever on the offensive end on the Knicks side has Harden on him, he needs to go to work and attack him. That might be one of the keys to the game. Try to get Harden in foul trouble. He isn't a great defender. Even if he has a good defensive, possession, it's going to be like 1 out of 5, 2, maybe something like that. So we have to try to exploit, Harden on the defensive end. Then again, Tybalt, listen, he's like a Frank Ntilikina type, right? He can make a three. He's not going to take the ball and the position upon himself to score a basket, isolate, or nothing like that, right? So he's rather a purely defensive player, and it depends on who he's going to be, guarding on the Knicks. If it's going to be Fournier, if it's going to be RJ. That's why I'm saying, whoever has the ball, has Harden on him, has to, try to attack him and play versus Harden as much as possible. At least try to make that, foul call on Harden and try to eliminate him that way.
Right. And that's definitely true. He may not be guarding Evan Fournier. He could be on RJ Barrett.
Yeah.
He could be there. RJ Barrett had 46 points. Oh, I don't know. Let me get to you, Josh. Your thoughts on that matchup.
Well, yeah. I mean, going along with what you were about to say, Matisse Thybulle definitely will be guarding RJ Barrett. Definitely. I think with the aggressiveness of RJ Barrett stepping into that role of being that dude on this team that I've been asking for the past year or so, or 2 years or so, I think there's no question Matisse Thybulle is going to guard RJ Barrett. And I think James Harden will guard Evan Fournier, but I think it'll be the reverse when we talk about the Knicks defensive matchup, so to speak, right? I think RJ will be guarding Harden, and Evan Fournier will be guarding Thybulle because he's not a volume shooter or volume shot taker or anything like that. And as far as taking advantage of the Harden matchup, I think that's what RJ did the last game. He was taking advantage of mismatches off of screens, off of pick and roll, and attacking. Right, so I think we'll see a lot more of that today. Try to get James Harden in foul trouble from RJ. Fournier, on the other hand, he's going to knock down some shots. He's been going to the hole a lot more recently, but I expect RJ to take advantage of what Andy was talking about as far as getting Harden in foul trouble, and I think that'll give us a chance in this ballgame.
Yeah, RJ had a career high 46 points last game.
Crazy efficiency. I'm not expecting him to drop 46 points today. But do you see that RJ, for what it's worth, can RJ put the team on his back for the remainder of this season and try to drag him the best that he can, try to drag the team into the play-in? I want to see him do that. And the Knicks may not get there, probably won't get there. But I want to see RJ just put the team on his back and say, come on, y'all going to ride with me. You know what I mean? I want to see him do that. Can he do that, Andy, you think?
Everybody can try. I don't think he can handle it, though. Listen, I think this roster has so many flaws. Maybe not the roster, but at least the offense has so many flaws that they would have to, tear up that Tips playbook just to even have a chance of winning a couple of these games, at least the nearest games, right? Because we have Philadelphia twice, then we have the Suns. If we pull out one of these, 3 games, I think that will be still a success. But I really think that we would have to step out of the Tips current offense that we were seeing the whole season. Listen, RJ, he can get hot from 3, but he's not going to take, 15 threes just to make 10, right?
Right.
So even though he can drive to the hoop, if his efficiency on the free throw line is going to be higher, it definitely will help the Knicks. But if, he won't have any of, help from the supporting cast, I don't think, he's that one man that can pull you to a W. So,
yeah. Okay. Because he definitely got no help in the previous game, not even from Julius Randle, who went 2 for 11 from the field. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When a guy like RJ has 46 points, you got to have 1 or 2 guys that can step up and get 20. If Julius Randle gets his 20 points, that game versus Miami, it looks a lot different. Hopefully, it looks a lot different. You know what I mean? So if RJ steps up, somebody else got to step up and play ball with him. But RJ Barrett versus James Harden today, that is the Thrive Fantasy matchup of the night, ladies and gentlemen. RJ Barrett versus James Harden. RJ Barrett's averaging 18.6 points per game on the season, 5.7 rebounds, 2.6 assists, shooting 41.7% from the field and 36.2% from three. Only shooting 69% from the free throw line, man. The Knicks as a whole, they've been terrible from the free throw line. We need both RJ and the Knicks to get better. And then James Harden, he's averaging 22.6 points per game, 8 rebounds, 10.2 assists, shooting 41.6% from the field, 34% from the three-point line, and 86.9% from the free throw line. Thoughts on this matchup, Josh?
Well, RJ Barrett's coming into his own. No question about that. He's definitely coming into his own. The aggressiveness, the confidence that he has on the floor, the confidence and that his teammates have in him is just evident, right? So I think, to answer your earlier question about RJ, can he be able to lead this team into a playing spot? Still a lot of question marks there, right? RJ Barrett, like Andy said, is not a volume shot taker. He's not going to take 15 or three-pointers or, shoot the ball 30 times or whatever. He's going to pick and choose when he's going to be able to attack and get his points that way on good efficiency. So I don't think he's going to be able to do what you asked him to do. But James Harden, on the other hand, James Harden is great. He's a great player. And I think, that's pretty much where the difference is going to lie. Like, James Harden's going to take a lot of shots. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But I think as far as this matchup is concerned, I'm going to go with James Harden.
You don't think RJ can become an efficient volume shot taker?
It's possible, but I just don't see that in his game. Like a chucker, like a chucking style of just taking a lot of shots. I don't see that in RJ. He's going to have his games where he's going to shoot the ball a lot, but I just don't see that being a part of his game. I think he's more methodical with the game and not taking that many shots.
I mean, he is, but I feel like even before he went out with his injury, he was taking control more in taking shots, creating his own shots. You're seeing more, little step backs from him. Pulling up off the dribble, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
he's definitely feeling like, I got to be the one to score the ball. You can see it in his game, and I don't know. I wouldn't put it past him to say, you know what? Let me try to see if this is my time coming down the stretch. Because I think it's important for the Knicks to see if RJ can, like I said, put the team on his back. And I'm not saying that he has to drag them into the playoffs, but really try to put the team on his back so that they can see, like, okay, maybe this is a guy that we can look at to be, maybe in 3 or 4 years is a definite number one guy, or however you want to say it, right? I don't know. You know what I mean? I do agree with you that he has – he's been a guy that so far in the NBA who's not really, he's taken, he's been a smart shot taker for the most part. You know what I'm saying? And he hasn't been one of those guys that can, he hasn't been like a good, bad shot taker because he doesn't really take bad shots. You know what I mean?
Correct.
It sounds weird to say it, but that may be another part of his game that has to grow every once in a while, taking those type of shots, not being afraid to take a chance, even if that means you might fail a few times. You know what I mean? Go ahead, Josh. You was about to say something.
Well, yeah, I'm looking at the stats from the last game. He had 46 points on 22 shots, which is really, really good. Mm-hmm. I expect him to be kind of around that, 20 shots per game, tops. Really, I don't see him getting, up there with the James Hardens and the KDs and stuff like that, as far as the amount of shots that he takes per game. And I think RJ is much more methodical. I don't think he is going to be that kind of shot chucker, so to speak. I'm not saying he can't do it. You know what I mean? He definitely can. The game can evolve into that. But I just think right now he's just more methodical, and that's really good. That's a good thing about him. He's much more methodical. He's not taking bad shots. And that's the type of player that he is right now at this current point in time.
Okay. All right.
Yes, Tim, just to add in one sentence, I think the soonest we're gonna see RJ taking more shots, not even dividing it to 3-pointers or mid-range, is like 2-3 years, and he would basically have to work through the whole summer only on his shot, because he doesn't have maybe that confidence in that shot. He doesn't have that loose trigger like Harden has. He just doesn't care like Quickly has. They don't care. They're just gonna pull up, right? RJ, like Josh said, is really methodical. If he doesn't feel it, he's not gonna take it. And when he gets a 3-pointer, you gotta realize that he really has to be open just to take the shot. So for me, that's a good that's a good thing, because he's not going to be taking bad shots. But then again, if you're expecting him to be a volume shooter, which means plenty of attempts, I think he needs to feel it within himself, and he needs to work on that shot way more, just to feel it more confident, at least that confident that he can just basically take it from any spot on the court.
Yeah, I agree with you, and especially that mid-range shot. You know what I mean? Working on that jab step, mid-range, step back, side step.
2 dribbles, 1 dribble, and just
all of that, working on that game there. But it's great watching his growth and evolution, though, man. And even within this season alone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Within this season alone, you're really seeing a lot of growth and evolution from R.J. Barrett. But anyway, James Harden, R.J. Barrett, that's the matchup of the night. I'm probably going with James Harden because he can score easily, and obviously he's going to get his number of assists and rebounds. You know what I mean? But I think RJ is going to give him a battle tonight. And if James Harden is on RJ, I think RJ is going to go at him. And you're right. They'll probably put Matisse Thybulle on RJ Barrett, and have James Harden guard Evan Fournier, which means Evan Fournier needs to try to light him up. That's the case. And then for our next matchup, we got Mitchell Robinson and Joel Embiid. Right? I mean, you already know Joel Embiid is likely going to win the matchup. But Mitchell Robinson's got to he's got to battle him. He's got to make it tough for him. You know what I'm saying? Use his length against him. Stay out of foul trouble. Because if he gets in foul trouble, you know what I mean? Now you're relying on either Jericho Sims or Nerlens Noel. Nerlens Noel probably, once he gets on the floor, expect him to go out with an injury. So, you know what I mean? We need Mitchell Robinson to stay healthy tonight, stay out of foul trouble. Well, today, not tonight, against Joel Embiid. Josh, your thoughts, man? Can he do it?
Yeah, I think it's possible. Now, listen, don't get me wrong. Joel Embiid, MVP of the league, like I said, my favorite for MVP right now. The numbers he's putting up is just spectacular, and he's just dominant, right? Very, very dominant big man. But I think what I seen in that first game when the Knicks played Sixers at the Garden was Mitchell Robinson kept Joel Embiid away from the rim. He forced Joel Embiid to put the ball on the floor, which he was much more prone to turnovers back then. And I think that's what Mitchell Robinson can do to try to slow Joel Embiid down. He's still going to get his points. He's still going to, knock down some shots and make some plays. But I think the best way to defend Joel Embiid is to make him put it on the floor, force him away from the basket, turn him into kind of this perimeter player. But, we all know he can knock down the 3-point shot. But if Mitchell Robinson can just crowd Joel Embiid and force him into some turnovers, I think we might have a shot. But it's going to be a tough task no matter what. And Mitchell Robinson needs to get back to being that beast down there on the boards, right? I think the past couple games we haven't seen that. It's like he, kind of regressed in that regard a little bit. So I'm going to see him try to get back to that. Again, it's going to be a tough task. But good news is the Sixers don't have a backup center, right? So if Mitchell Robinson finds himself on the floor with Joel Embiid not in the game, I think that might be an opportunity for him to get his numbers up and dominate in the post. But it's going to be a tough task no matter what.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Andy.
If you're asking me who's going to win the battle, it's going to be Embiid. I would be foolish not to answer it like that.
Right.
But 2 things that I would love to see from Mitch for this game, and that I would call the success for Mitch, is not get into foul trouble and at least win the rebounding battle with Embiid. Both guys are great rebounders, but we know that Mitch can attack that offensive board, and that's going to be crucial in this game. If we want to have even a chance, he has to win that rebounding battle for the whole Knicks team. And maybe on those putbacks, a ref is going to blow a whistle here and there, and
Right.
Again, someone might be in the foul trouble. So
Right. And I agree. I believe that Mitch can win that rebounding battle. And that's big for the Knicks because especially on the offensive side, talk about it all the time. The Knicks don't shoot well. You got to be able to grab offensive rebounds and get putbacks. That's one thing that Mitchell Robinson can do. He wasn't that great at it in the previous game versus Miami, but it's a different day, different game. See if he's up for the task today. As far as the bench is concerned, Philadelphia, after the trade, they really don't have that deep of a bench, in my opinion. Shake Milton, he can light it up. He can get hot. Danny Green, you know what he can do, but, he's not the same Danny Green, but he can have his nights. Other than that, there's not much on it. You got Korkmaz out there who can get hot. But I'm expecting the Knicks bench to win this matchup. I think they should win the matchup.
Whew.
Although the Knicks bench is definitely younger, and the Philadelphia, the 76ers bench, maybe they have that experience over the Knicks bench because you're talking about quickly Cam, Obi, and if they go with Jericho Sims, maybe Jericho Sims, I don't know. I think the Knicks have the energy over their bench with the Quickly and the Cam and Obi. But obviously they got a little bit more basketball IQ in that second unit with Paul Millsap and Danny Green. I still think the Knicks bench should win it. I think it should. But I don't know. Josh?
Sam, I think that's going to depend on Quickly and what Quickly shows up tonight. If Quickly's knocking down his shots and he's getting hot, I think, yes, we can win that matchup. But Quickly has just shot selection, hasn't been knocking down those shots. And it's just, I think that's what's really slowing the bench down. We were one of the best benches in the NBA at the beginning of the season, when we had Burks on the bench and stuff like that. But now it's just they're not knocking down any shots and they're not getting any good shots, right? So
yeah,
we gotta get Quickly going, and we gotta get Cam Reddish. Let's see if Cam Reddish can have that game and step out.
I think the bench got to play fast against them. I think if we play fast against them, we win it. If we slow down and play slow and let Paul Millsap, plod his way down the court and post up Obi, and then we could be in trouble. You know what I mean? But I think if we play fast, I don't think they can keep up with us if we play fast. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Andy?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. We need a breakout game from Cam. I really think that in these 20 couple games that we got left, I see at least 2-3 of those 20-point games from Cam. I really think that he's going to have more and more opportunities with Grimes being out. And, if he's going to make that, 2-3 first shots of his, he's not going to be, holding up, and he's just going to, take those shots. And as far as they're going to be going down, I think he can really have a breakout performance and make, at least the fans and probably even Tibbs happy that he has, a reliable guy on the bench that at least can score. And we saw even a couple of great defensive possessions on Cam, right? He just poked up the ball and had a fast break off of it. I think that's what's going to make, Tibbs like Cam more. So I really think that, that breakout game from Cam Reddish is really, really close.
Yeah, I would love to see a breakout game from Cam. I see Casey in the chat said run the offense through RJ in the first unit and Cam in the second unit. Definitely in the second unit is much better than running it through quickly. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Much better than running it through quickly. Ayub Matan, thank you for the super chat. He said, James Harden's impact on the game is crazy with 10 assists per game. Yeah, it is crazy. His impact on the game, man. And what he brings to a team with his ability to score and get assists, it's definitely definitely makes it tough to deal with any team that he's on. Yeah.
Sim, he absolutely evolved into that type of high assist total guy when he went to Brooklyn. When they didn't have Kyrie for whatever amount of games, James Harden took over that role and developed, and started just passing, right, and feeding KD, giving KD the ball. His points per game went down a little bit, but his assist numbers are up there. And it's just crazy to see what James Harden is doing now as a primary ball handler, facilitator type, right? Usage rate still crazy through the roof, right? So I think that's an underrated part of his game that people are now starting to see. And that's why, for me, he's one of the top 5 shooting guards of all time.
Yeah. I mean, he was doing that in Houston too, though.
Yeah, with Capella, right? Yeah, when he has an athletic big, he can utilize him really good. And, I think he notices it now that he doesn't have to take every shot. And that's more deadly than even, taking 50 shots a game, just passing, 12, 15 times. The guy's going to make 10, shots off of that. And, him getting 30 points and, 10 assists is going to be at least 50 points of the game, of the team with him touching the ball, right? So that's huge impact on the offensive end.
I mean, his assist numbers definitely went up when he went to Brooklyn. He had one season where he averaged 11.2 assists in Houston. That was 16-17. But he was always somewhere around 7 or 8 assists per game. In 2020, 2021, he averaged 10.4 assists when he left Houston, only 8 games in Houston. And then in Brooklyn, he averaged 11 assists, 10.2 assists. Now we'll see what he does in Philadelphia. Having a guy like Joel Embiid down there, and he got shooters out there on the perimeter, and Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey can knock it down. Thibault can knock it down sometimes. He's got a lot of weapons out there, to get the ball out to. So we'll see. Game stats between these two teams. I seen the New York Knicks posted the last 10 games between both teams. I don't think that really applies to the Philadelphia 76ers because their team is very different now. So I'll just take what they have for the season because they only played one game with James Harden. But for the Knicks, they average 105 points per game on the season, 46.1 rebounds, 21.5 assists per game for the Knicks, 6.9 steals, 5 blocks, 13 turnovers, 43.3. They're shooting 43.3% from the field, 35.7% from 3, not 27%, but 35.7%, and 75% from the free throw line. As far as the Philadelphia 76ers, they are averaging 108 points per game, 133 in one game with James Harden, 42 rebounds a game, 23 assists, 7.6 steals per game, 5.5 blocks, 12 turnovers a game, shooting 46% from the field, 35.7% from 3, and 81% from the free throw line. Those assist numbers, I think, are going to go up, definitely, with James Harden out there, because I still think Tyrese Maxey gets whatever he was getting. Joel Embiid will get his few assists. Tobias Harris will get his couple of his assists. Maybe some of the guys that left the team, maybe they got 1 or 2 assists here and there. But I think that assist number goes up at least a little bit with James Harden out there. For the Knicks, it's always the shooting, man. It's always the shooting. Every team that we look at when we compare the stats, it's the Knicks shooting. They don't shoot well. They're an okay defensive team, okay rebounding team. They just can't shoot the basketball. Anything with these stats stand out to you, Andy?
Yes, and it's like you said, it's hard to say because the Sixers are basically with a new rotation with Harden. Though Harden also takes he's trigger happy, just like Seth Curry was, right? I think what we didn't mention even that they lost Drummond, right? And I think that's a huge impact versus a team like the Knicks,
right?
Since we don't have a backup center, in Noel because we didn't see him play for a decade. Taj is probably not going to play. It's going to be Sims. So I rather see Sims versus whoever they got at center instead of Andre Drummond, right? Andre Drummond's a beast on the board, so he would, make it even tougher for the Knicks. So listen, the numbers it's really hard to say. I'm gonna say that if the shooting from this free throw at least is gonna be on a better path for the Knicks, I think it would be way better than what we see from these current numbers.
Yeah. Josh, any thoughts?
Yeah. What stands out for me, again, those turnovers, our free throw percentage, that's just been our Achilles heel the entire season. Free throw shooting. We just got to be able to improve on that. Hopefully knock those free throws down tonight. Turnovers, we definitely got to take care of the basketball today. But like I said earlier, Philly does not play with that much pace, right? So if we can put ourselves in a position where we can be a little bit faster, try to, get to the cup, get some more points on the board, I think we could be able to knock down some shots, right? We got to play a little bit faster, try not to get stuck in a half-court game because they have two of the best half-court players in basketball. Right, so we got to play a little bit faster and try to beat them to the punch and get up early. I think if we can do that, we'll have a chance.
Yeah, we've been getting up early a lot lately. We haven't been able to pull it out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know if we stopped doing the things that we did, or we can't handle the pressure when teams pick up their defense. But let me get to a phone call here. Caller, you live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can you turn that down in the back, please?
Yep, I'm doing it right now.
Appreciate you, man. What's going on with you?
I want to say what's up to the chat. What's up to the panel? How y'all doing?
Pretty good, man. How you feeling today?
I'm all right. I just got a question for y'all. Do y'all think we're going to lose Knicks in the offseason?
Oh, man. I think there's a chance. I definitely think there's a chance that that they lose him. Yeah, I think there's a chance.
Yeah, I think that's why they're going to play Sims a little bit more, to see what he got, to see what it is, because Noel is a wall. Like y'all just said, we ain't seen Noel in like 15 years or nothing like that. I just want to see a little bit more Sims. I think they need him today a little bit with Joel because of the big body, because Mitch might get in foul trouble or something like that,
Right. Yeah, definitely. Mitch, messing around with Joel Embiid. Now you got a guy like James Harden who can find them. Having a guy like James Harden who can find them adds a little bit more pressure on Mitch sometimes, because if we can't stop James Harden from getting into the lane, right now Mitch is coming over to help out on James Harden, and then he finds Joel Embiid, and Mitch got to rotate back to Joel Embiid. You're primed to get a foul call.
Yeah, so I think we're going to need to see a little bit more Sims today. And, that's it. I just want to ask the panel that question. This is D-Max from MToast TV. And, to see the game, I hope you have a good game. If you don't, whatever. I'm still a Knicks fan. Blue and orange all day. I'm representing Brooklyn. I'm in Atlanta. You guys have a good day, man.
Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate it.
Peace. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, the game starts in about 10 minutes. You're watching the Game Day pregame show. Make sure you check out thegameday.com. There's a link in the description of this video where you can get all of your up-to-date sports content and betting odds, all right, from all of your favorite betting platforms. So make sure you check out thegameday.com. We're going to talk about the keys to the game, but I do want to remind you that if you are a member, an NBK member, that there's a link attached to the top of that YouTube chat where you can go get a link so you can join us in a watch-along as we watch the game together, talk about the game and all that kind of stuff. But my keys to the game, ladies and gentlemen, is one, stay focused. The Knicks have got to stay focused. It's a long shot for them to get into that play-in. But if they want to try to get into that play-in, they really got to stay focused, cancel out all the outside noise, and just focus on themselves. One game at a time. If they get a lead, we just talked about it. If they get a lead, they got to hold it, right? The Knicks keep getting leads, and then slowly but surely it slips away. I don't know if they don't do the same things that they were doing to get the lead. They can't handle the team's defensive pressure, but it slips away. Take care of the basketball. The Knicks turned the ball over against Miami 18 times, and it led to 24 points by the Miami Heat. If you do that today, the Knicks will be in trouble early. They stay out of foul trouble. We need Mitchell Robinson on the floor. RJ Barrett's got to be on the floor. Right? I mean, that's clear now that he's got to be there. The Knicks got to stay out of foul trouble. RJ Barrett doesn't get into foul trouble, but Mitchell Robinson does, right? Or he's had the habit of doing that in the past. He's been better the past 2 seasons. But sometimes against a guy like Joel Embiid, like we just talked about, James Harden going to the lane, finding Joel Embiid, Mitch could get in foul trouble. We need him out there on the floor. Then defensive rotations, communication, and finishing with a rebound is going to be critical because there's a lot of weapons that the Philadelphia 76ers have, especially in that first unit. And then you still got guys like Paul Millsap who can knock down a 3, Danny Green who can knock down a 3 coming off the bench. You know, these guys can play ball. And they can light it up if you allow them to. Now you got James Harden finding these guys out at the three-point line or finding them in transition, et cetera, et cetera. Right, so the Knicks got to be on point defensively, and I don't want to forget about Shake Milton, who can light it up too. Right, so the Knicks got to be on point defensively, finish the defense with a rebound, grab offensive rebounds if they need be, win the rebounding battle. You know, any keys that you like to throw out there, Andy?
Play the fast-paced game versus them. If we can listen, Joel Embiid isn't a fast player, neither is James Harden. If we catch those 2 guys not playing great transition defense, we might have an easy bucket for the Knicks. We saw even Julius, trying to play way faster on offense. If he does it this game, on a make, I think, even on a make of the 76ers, I think we have a way, way better chance than we have when we, let them set up that defense. So I think, fast-paced game on the offense and try to, every time if you can control the pace of the game, it's great for you. But, this game, it's not even about controlling it. Just play fast-paced game and get those, chances up because, 105 points isn't going to win you a game versus 76ers.
Right. No doubt about that. Josh?
Run. That's what the Knicks need to do. They need to run a little bit more. They can't get caught in a half-court game because I think Philly's too strong in the half-court with the players that they have. If we are able to get some points in transition, force some turnovers, I think we'll have a shot. So run. I want to see the Knicks continue to be aggressive and play that running style, and not just in the beginning of the game, but throughout the entirety of the game. Try to get some shots early in the shot clock to keep Philly on their heels.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate your time. Those are the keys to the game. Well, predictions. Let's do some predictions. Then we can get up out of here. Josh, prediction?
Philly 115, Knicks 100.
Okay. Andy?
I hope it's a little bit closer than that.
Me too.
Yeah, I hope it's going to be a little bit closer. Though I really think that the Knicks are going to, score at least 105 this game.
Okay. I'm going with Philadelphia. Maybe it's a tight game. The Knicks, I think the players understand who they're going up against, so they're going to step up. I just don't think they're going to have it to get it done down the stretch. So I'm going to say 115 to 110, Josh.
5 points?
Yeah. I'm say 115 to 110. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm heading on over to the watch along. So if you are a member, join us in there. You better chop it up with us a little bit. Andy been there. Josh going to be in there. We got, it's a private chat that's going to be in there. The space is kind of limited. So join us in that watch along. It's going to be pretty dope. You might be surprised. It's going to be pretty dope. So join us. If you're a member, the link is attached to the top of the YouTube page. Click on that link. It'll take you to the actual link because that's going to take you to my community section so that you can go get the link. So members, if you're out there, please, we want you to join us. All right, we're heading over there now. Be peaceful, and we out. Catch you on the post-game show.
This is MBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Nick.